Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Corey.
And this is Dave.
Yeah, and this is Scott. Praise Satan.
Praise Satan. Mm-hmm. And, hey, you're here for the lightning round. And things are going to move very quickly here.
Yeah, if this is your first time joining us, well, you might want to go listen to another episode because this is going to be a little bit different from what we normally do and not really representative of the show. We are going to be going very, very fast.
You'll find no greased cod pieces here.
No time for greased cod pieces.
Nope.
So here's where we are. When we started doing this, when we started seeding these into a bracket, we put together a big bracket with 128 albums. Then, long story, we'll explain later, we put together a separate wildcard bracket with another 64 albums. At this point, between the two brackets, we are down to about 48 albums remaining, but we have 32 of those are on our main bracket, and we decided we are just going to go lightning speed and knock out all 32 in one single episode. Usually we spend time like giving you background on the albums, talking about pros and cons, going into the debate. We're not going to be doing any of that shit. We're going to be giving you some basic facts to set up the match, voting, and moving on to the next round. Hopefully it's listenable. It might not be the most exciting thing you've ever heard, but we are just going to crank through this because we got a lot of ground still to cover in front of us.
We are in, we are out, we are sleeping.
Donkey not included. No.
All right, so cue up the intro.
Wait, do we have time for an intro?
Let's doing the intro.
The music, you know, Scott, the music where we play like the strings and the big intro. Yeah.
Go.
Yeah, Dave, no, I think we got. No. I know what you're saying. We got a lot of ground to cover. We got little time to do it. But don't worry, way ahead of you. Just trust me on this. So just cue up the intro. You'll see what I mean.
Okay.
It's the lightning round.
Oh, okay. I see what you did there.
Very
well
kinky,
done.
So it's about how long it takes, actually.
Wow, that took you a lot of time. Okay, our first matchup today. No big intros. It is The Who's with Who's Next from 1971 against Paid in Full by Eric B. and Rakim.
I don't even know how to do that one, so.
What, the Roger Daltrey, the Who Are You?
No.
You don't know how to do Paid in Full.
Thanks.
Okay.
So, real quick, how these albums got here. The Who in round one beat the band's music from Big Pink. Nice one, Scott. In round one, and then in round two, it beat the Clash's self-titled debut album. Eric B. and Rakim in round one beat out more songs about buildings and food by Talking Heads. And in round two, it beat Cat Stevens' Tea for the Tillerman. Oh my God, yeah.
Yep, it beat Cat Stevens.
Scott's been fucking with the notes again.
It was the band's music from Big Pink Dildo. And it was more songs about buildings and foods by the Talking While Giving Head.
That's just rude.
That's just wrong. Okay, so
Shouldn't talk with your mouth full.
Exactly.
I'm just going to say real quick, I have a grading system. So the Who's Next scored a 3.58. Paid in Full scored a 3.33. So my vote is for The Who. Dave.
Damn. Okay, I was expecting a little more than
that's
that.
weird.
Okay, so Who's Next? Who's Next? This album has really some of the Who's best songwriting, really at any point in their career. And the other thing it has going for it is not Lifehouse, which is the album Townsend wanted to make, which was another follow-up rock opera album after doing Tommy. It was just as muddled. They couldn't get that together, so they did this instead. Versus Paid in Full, man, there's some groundbreaking lyricism on here. This is rap done at a level that people had not seen before, really raised the bar. You know, there's a lot of great albums on Who's Next, but for me, actually, I think it's Paid in Full, if only for just the massive influence that it had on rap for so many years after this.
I'm just going to make this really simple because for me it was Paid in Full because just Who's Next? Yeah, there's a lot of good songs there, but some of it just didn't hold up as well. And honestly, Paid in Full was much more interesting for me to listen to again and again. So here we are.
Yeah, actually, I have inspiration-wise, Paid in Full outbeat The Who.
Oh, for sure.
And also beat them in the lyrics.
Yeah.
But musicianship and production, that's where the points kind of
I hear you.
Okay. Who's Next wins, and we go on to the next match.
No. Paid in Full wins.
Oh, Paid in Full. God damn it. Cut that out, Corey.
Corey's just changing the way we vote now.
All right.
God, he doesn't get his way. He just starts trying to force his will.
Dave, you want to set up the next one?
So we have Dummy by Portishead, which came out in 1994, versus Eli and the 13th Confession by Laura Nyro from 1968. Dummy got here in round 1 by beating out Hounds of Love by Kate Bush, and then in round 2 survived by beating The Low End Theory by A Tribe Called Quest. Meanwhile, Eli and the 13th Confession in round 1, still can't get over this, beat out Hotel California by the Eagles, and in round 2 beat out The Infamous by Mobb Deep. And actually, I think I'm up to vote first. So Dummy was another one of these albums that like completely unlike anything that had come before it, along with Massive Attack, really created an entirely new genre of trip hop. Downside, sometimes the tracks get a little boring listening to this from end to end. Eli and the 13th Confession is kind of like the Cinderella story of our bracket. It's really for a niche audience, to put it mildly, but the songwriting is complex. It's layered. In terms of like the Brill Building sound, which we've talked about a few things, it went way beyond anything else that was coming out of the Brill Building. After kind of rolling this over, it is time for Cinderella to go home. Laura Nyro is a good album. It's better than the way we've shit on it from time to time talking about it. It's not good enough to beat the idea of creating an entire genre, which is what Portishead did. So, like, for me, it's Portishead.
Scott?
Okay, yeah. Honestly, if I had a brick that was... Well, okay, I'd just get any brick. Because I think any brick would do. Laura Nyro...
Dick-size brick?
Laura Nyro, yeah, just something to bash my dick into... Just fucking, pulverize it into a paste. Because, damn, I'd rather do that than listen to Laura Nyro and the 13th and Eli's Confession. And, it beat Hotel California really wasn't much of a stretch. That's a shit fucking album. The Eagles fucking suck. End of story. But, so, fuck y'all, man. Portishead is much better. And I appreciated Portishead, just because much more vibe there. Laura Nyro, oh, dear God.
Thank you,
no.
Jeff Lebowski, for that. Okay. My vote does not count, but Laura actually beat Dummy 3.63 to 3.54, so...
I don't even know what that means.
But Dummy...
His little scoring system.
It's my little scoring system. Yep.
Okay.
So, they both got A's. Hers was just a little bit better. But, okay. So, Dummy wins.
I was so close to voting for Laura Nyro just to be a pain in the ass, because I thought for sure you guys would both go with Portishead anyway. I'm really glad I didn't.
You know what? When I put together my numbers, I was like, it's going to be what it's going to be. All right. Scott, you want to set this one up?
Oh, yeah, that Fiona Apple album from 1999. When the pawn hits the conflicts, he thinks... Yeah, that long-ass...
Reading is hard.
The reading thing is just not fundamental for me today, so it's a very long Fiona Apple album, which was actually really good.
Work for me.
Versus Dusty Springfield from 1969, and Dusty was the first, blonde chick singy thing, and I don't know, it's just it's a big here. So gosh, I'm going with the Dusty Springfield. I dug the way she vibed more. Fiona was just a little too fucking windy, like she'd eaten too many apples or something. I don't know.
She was the first blonde chick singy thing.
Singy thing. Real quick, Fiona in round 1 beat Blondie's Parallel Lines.
Right.
Another blonde chick singy thing.
Yeah, another blonde chick singy thing. And in round 2, she beat out Damn the Torpedoes by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Fuck them, yeah.
And Dusty, meanwhile, beat out Elliott Smith's Either Or.
Not hard.
And then in round 2, she beat George Harrison's All Things Must Pass.
Now that was surprising. I mean, she didn't even use pork grease, so
no.
And she's here. Welcome.
In this one, my vote, I felt it was a stronger album. I felt the songwriting was better, and because they were her songs, I went with Fiona.
Understandable.
Dave, break the tie.
Oh yeah, right. I forgot Scott already voted.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Corey. I just said that Portishead created a new genre. We've said the same thing about Fiona. The Dusty in Memphis album, Dusty had a great voice. She had a tragic life. This is a really enjoyable album, but it doesn't hold a candle to Fiona's songwriting and the execution on that album. So it's Fiona.
Fuck you, Blondie singing thing.
Okay, next round. we have Bitches Brew by Miles Davis from 1970. Then in round 1 beat OK Computer by Radiohead. And then in round 2, it beat Gang of Four's Entertainment. Bitches Brew will be taking on REM with their 1992 Automatic for the People, which in round 1 beat out the Kinks of the Village Green Preservation Society. In round 2, it beat Exodus by Bob Marley and the Wailers. And so we go to our lineup, and by 0.05 points, I, in the end, am voting for Miles Davis, mostly for the inspiration that this album carried for so many artists. REM, this is a fantastic, wonderful album. Did not do very well in the inspiration column. Earlier REM, absolutely. Later, not so much. All right, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I agree with that last statement. I actually think Automatic for the People is some of the best songwriting that REM ever produced. And talking about a band that wasn't really bad, it's not really a low standard. I mean, they were pretty good songwriters just generally. Bitches Brew, we're talking about the birth of modern jazz. Miles was basically the savior of what was basically a dying genre at the time. It's hard to listen to. I've said before, I don't love the album. The other thing I've said about it is it's arguably more of Teo Macero's work than Miles Davis's, because Teo Macero was the guy who actually had to cut this stuff together into something mildly listenable. Again, I don't love listening to it, but as much as I hate to say it, it's Miles just for the innovation and the impact.
And here I am at the end, just, going to break it off in REM's ass and give it to Miles as well, because fuck you, REM, just fuck you. Yeah. Snap. Ooh, you're squirming on the floor. End.
Okay. Dave, ratchet up the next one.
Yeah, okay, sorry. I'm also trying to keep notes for posterity, and we're going so fast I can't keep up with my notes. Matchup 5, One Nation Under a Groove by Funkadelic from 1978 is going up against Rage Against the Machine with their self-titled debut from 1992. One Nation Under a Groove we got here in round 1. It beat Coat of Many Colors by round 2. Then in round 2, by round, what? It beat Coat of Many Colors by Dolly Parton, not Coat of Many Colors by round 2.
Yeah.
And then in round 2, it beat The Birth of Soul by Ray Charles. Meanwhile, Rage Against the Machine in round 1 beat Axis Bold as Love by the Jimi Hendrix Experience. And then in round 2, beat Aquemini by Outkast. I'm actually up to vote first on this one. So One Nation Under a Groove is endlessly fun to listen to, even if some of the jokes get a little bit thin at times. It's still a very fun album. But Rage Against the Machine, I've said this before, it's an album that just commands you to listen whether you really want to or not. Then you add to that Tom Morello, whose innovation on guitar just continues to frustrate guitar players to this very day.
Amen.
I love Funkadelic, but this one's not even close for me. It's Rage.
Yeah, and I too believe that the Rage is much more ragey than the Nation Under the Groove, because the Nation Under the Groove there's not enough pork grease in it for me, so I felt like Rage had much more pork grease. So yeah, Rage.
Okay, my vote, yes, it was absolutely Rage Against the Machine. I don't need to say anything more. It was groundbreaking in its time as well. Funkadelic, Dave, you're right. It's a great, it's a fun album, but yeah, Rage.
Right.
All right, Scott.
Well,
set up our next one.
Here we go. Disintegration by The Cure. Oh, it's 1989 and I'm so lonely. But Robert Smith, you're such a fucking cunt. Anyway, we got here from round 1. It beat out Los Lobos. How will the wolf survive? I don't know, because he didn't do a good album, that's for sure. Round 2, it beat out Janet Jackson's Control, because she was controlling and stuff. And then it's up against Nevermore the Bollocks is the Sex Pistols, which is just a shit album, which somehow beat out Dr. John's Grease, which I thought was actually cooler. And a Green Day's American Idiot? Fuck y'all, man. No, American, well, yeah, weird matchup there. Anyway, it beat that one. So, fuck y'all, Green Day. And, yeah, so I'm a little torn here, but honestly, I'm going to give it to the Pistols, because fuck Cure. Twat music.
It's Gree, by the way.
Yeah, okay. Aquamini.
Since y'all gave me shit for calling it Gris or whatever the fuck I called it. God only knows.
Grease.
Actually, the funny thing about this was, in my grading system, these two tied. So I said, okay, fist fight, Sid Vicious, Robert Smith, Sex Pistols take the vote.
Thank you.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sid Vicious versus practically anybody.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Sid Vicious versus a glass door.
Sid Vicious versus Nancy Spungen. Oh! Too soon?
Too soon. All right, Dave, what's your vote?
Like Corey on the last round, I don't really have to say much because we're unanimous on this one. It's the Sex Pistols. I mean, the influence there is undeniable.
Yeah. As much as it wasn't a great album, and I feel, I don't know, just to say this, it wasn't a great album, but it really defined a genre for a lot of people. So.
Exactly. Okay. Our next 7th round.
Wow.
We have Nas with Illmatic from 1994. In round 1, it beat out Kimono My House by Sparks. And in round 2, it managed to beat out the Allman Brothers at Fillmore East. Illmatic and Nas will be taking on Pixies with Doolittle from 1989. And Doolittle beat out
Doolittle.
Dr. Doolittle by Pixies beat out Big Star's Sisters, Lovers because it had 2 damn titles in round 1, and in round 2 it beat out Robin's Body Talk, as in Let Me Hear Your Body Talk. And so
that was Olivia Newton-John.
Oh,
Let me hear your body talk. It beat out Olivia Newton-John.
so this was another one that was a tie, and the tie goes to Nas. So my vote is for Illmatic. Dave.
Yeah, no, me too. Hip hop Springsteen, as I call him, just because of the storytelling and the deep personal themes. Doolittle's fun, but Illmatic is mind blowing. It's Nas.
Yeah, I thought Illmatic was much more interesting than Doolittle. So yeah, Illmatic.
Nas is a much better songwriter.
It is.
than Frank
He
Black.
is. It is. They are.
Lyrically, yeah.
Them, yes.
All right, Dave, introduce us to the 8th round, will you please?
Oh, man. Speaking of innovative hip hop, we have The Chronic by Dr. Dre from 1992, which got here by beating out Marquee Moon by Television in round 1, who you probably never heard of, but you should go check out that album because it's really good. And then in round 2, beat out AM by Arctic Monkeys. They are taking on Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young with their 1970 Deja Vu, which beat out Jagged Little Pill by Alanis Morissette in round 1 and Depeche Mode's Violator in round 2. And I am actually up to vote first on this one. So yeah, like I said, The Chronic, another album that changed the direction of hip hop, and this time giving us both the West Coast sound and Snoop Dogg, 2 things who are still around today, going up against Deja Vu. So yeah, this is the album where Neil Young joined Crosby, Stills, and Nash. Yes, he elevated their sound. He elevated their songwriting. Yes, the harmonies are great, but dear God, save me from this mind-blowingly boring album. It's The Chronic by Dr. Dre.
Scott?
Yeah. I'm honestly a little amazed that Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young beat out Violator, because Violator is a much cooler name than Deja Vu. It's okay. Anyway, The Chronic wins because, much cooler.
And for me, yes, Dr. Dre graded about a point higher than, or 0.1 higher than Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young. But yes, The Chronic still stands long.
To hell with you, Neil Young, as we say.
So we've gone through 8 rounds. We always have a middle part, so we're gonna...
Told you we were moving fast today.
That was quick. We're like a pimp on speed.
Lightning round! So, for our centerpiece today, the news has been a buzz lately with the ongoing feud between Kendrick Lamar and Drake. And we wanted to use this time to chime in on this heated exchange where Kendrick is accusing Drake of being a domestic abuser, and Drake alleges that Lamar sired a secret child. So, gentlemen, your thoughts on the matter?
I mean, honestly, I kind of got nothing here.
Fuck them, man. No.
Okay, well, I had some notes, something about Nas X intervening and with a 3-way call.
Gross.
Soul Train, Conga Line, Human Caterpillar. I don't know. All right, something, fuck it. Next round?
Yep.
Yeah. When you said human caterpillar, it sounded for a second, I thought I heard human catheter.
Tommy the Human Tapeworm, and that's what they were going to originally title their album. So this next matchup introduces Tommy the Human Tapeworm by The Who versus Yankee Hotel Foxtrot by Wilco. The Who got here by beating out X's Los Angeles and Lord's Melodrama, which honestly I'm a little surprised at. Wilco got here by beating out Gillian Welch's Time the Revelator, which I really dug. That was a cool album. And beat out Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly, which, is not really. Anyway. Wow. I'm giving this to Wilco. Just cuz.
Okay, I'm next. And considering what Pete Townsend and The Who did here, as far as really inspiring more of like the bombastic concept album in a way. Hey, I'm not done yet. Don't.
My volume got jacked.
Actually, I'm giving this to Tommy. So, Dave?
Despite what you may have heard, Tommy is not the first rock opera. Despite what you may have heard, no, it's not as good as you think it is. I won't pretend Yankee Hotel Foxtrot is an easy listen, but in my opinion, it's more innovative than pretty much anything on Tommy. So I'm with Scott. I'm going with Wilco.
Awesome.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Tommy the Tapeworm, you're a loser. Loser. Go home, Roger Daltrey, you're drunk.
All right, our next round, it's Joni Mitchell with Blue.
Oy.
And in the...
Sorry.
No, I mean, I'm chuckling because I'm right there with you.
Yeah. So Joni Mitchell's Blue, in round one, she beat out Janis Joplin's Pearl. Mm. And in round two, she beat Hole's Live Through This. Yeah, she beat Courtney Love's Hole. Yes. Joni Mitchell will be taking on Stevie Wonder with his Inner Visions from 1973. What did I miss?
Just Joni Courtney's Hole. I don't know.
I didn't say that.
No. But what you did say was in round one she beat out how did you say it? You said in round two she beat out Hole, and I think just the phrase she beat out Hole just by itself was.
Oh my God! Okay, yeah.
Okay. Joni Mitchell.
I actually didn't find it as funny as Scott did, but then the laughter was infectious. Was the problem?
I might have been that edible. I don't know.
All right. Joni Mitchell and her hole beaten or blue beaten hole or whatever the fuck. Never mind. I can't do this. Joni Mitchell and her Blue album is taking on Stevie Wonder and his Inner Visions album from 1973. In round one, he beat out Expensive Shit by Fela Kuti in Africa 70. And in round two, he beat out Jason Isbell's Southeastern.
Good album.
And so, inspiration-wise and what this has done for many artists, I hate to do it, but I'm voting for Joni.
Wow.
Dave?
I hate to do it too, but I'm right there with you. If only for the influence she had on just multiple generation of artists, particularly women artists. I don't love the album, but it's the influence is undeniable.
I'm going to disagree just because Stevie Wonder is a better songwriter, musician, and everything else, and Joni is just an old withered up hag by this point. So, no, I'm not into it. No, fuck you, Joni, no. I'm the voice of dissent.
All right, Dave, line us up.
All right, matchup number 11. Ooh, Asia by Steely Dan from 1977 versus The Velvet Underground and Nico with the album titled The Velvet Underground and Nico, which was their debut and frankly only album in that lineup. Asia was Steely Dan 1977. In round one, it beat out Richard and Linda Thompson's I Want to See the Bright Lights Tonight. In round two, it beat out Willie Nelson's The Red-Headed Stranger. Meanwhile, Velvet Underground and Nico got here by beating out Nine Inch Nails' Pretty Hate Machine in round one and Charlie Mingus's Mingus in round two. In terms of my vote, man, Asia is just, it's not perfect, but there is very little to complain about here. Just great songwriting, excellent performances, excellent recording. Velvet Underground and Nico, I got good news and bad news. The good news, Velvet Underground. The bad news, Nico. It was an important album, but it is not a very enjoyable one, whereas you can't say that about Asia. So going with Steely Dan.
Yeah, I'm going to give this to Steely Dan as well, simply because the musicianship is stellar. Nico, I'd rather be thrown out of a window than listen to that album again.
I was actually going to vote Velvet Underground based on the huge inspiration that this album carried, but hey, it It is what it is. And Asia moves on, and Scott, tell us about
Out
our
the window
next
we go.
round.
Well, we've got two fine ladies here. We got Back to Black by Amy Winehouse from 2006, beating out Aretha Franklin's Amazing Grace and Lauryn Hill's The Short Bus. Okay.
Gotcha.
You got me. You cocksuckers. The miseducation of Lauryn Hill. Wow, fuck you, man. Oh, I had that coming, I suppose. That's fair. That's fair. All right. This beat out Car Wheel. Well, it's going up against Car Wheels on a Gravel Road by Lucinda Williams from '98, which beat out Mary J. Blige's My Life, which beat Joy Division's Unknown Pleasures. Is that right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Yeah, Joy Division, yeah, which was a fucking sad album anyway. I love Amy Winehouse's drugged out voice. I mean, her drugged out songwriting is amazing. She was a good drug addict writer, but honestly, I felt like Car Wheels on a Gravel Road was a better album, so I'm giving it to Lucinda Williams.
Whoa.
I am very surprised by that.
Yeah.
All right. In my grading system, Amy was the only one that got a perfect score for
wow,
me.
okay.
Yes, a lot of inspiration,
Yeah.
the production, the musicianship, her lyrics, across the board. So my vote is Amy.
Bitch was solid.
Yeah.
Dave?
Yeah, me too. I'm going to go with Amy. I'm with you, Corey. I don't know if I give it a perfect, if I call anything perfect, but this matchup to me is not close. So it's Amy Winehouse.
Okay.
Okay, on to our 13th matchup. It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back by Public Enemy. In the first round, they beat out Lady Gaga's Born This Way. And in round 2, they eked by Stevie Wonder's song In the Key of Life.
Wow.
Public Enemy takes on Peter Gabriel and his big album So from 1986. Peter Gabriel in round 1 beat out Taylor Swift's Red. And in round 2, got by the Joshua Tree by U2. And so here it is. Final tally for me by 0.04 points. I am voting for Peter Gabriel on this one. I felt like this album, just musicianship and everything about it, didn't rank as high in inspiration as Public Enemy did, especially for what they did for rap. But there's a lot more going on, I felt, in the Peter Gabriel album that needs to be recognized.
I feel like I keep saying this today, but the reality is one of the things that almost all of the hip hop albums that we have left in our bracket, this is a true statement just over and over again. This is another one of these moments where an album just kind of changed the direction of the entire genre. Basically reinvented hip hop. He gave us hardcore beats, militant lyrics. So is a great album. Along with Paul Simon's Graceland, we're talking about the two albums that really kind of gave us the world music movement that was huge in the 80s. While they both had impact, the Public Enemy's influence, I think you're still feeling that impact now, and it's been 35 years. And so based on that, I'm going to go with Public Enemy.
All right, Scott.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with it. Fuck the Police, man. Public Enemy all the way.
At first, I thought you were misreading the outline since the Police is actually on our next round.
Well, no, but since you mention it, it's a synchronicity, Dave, because up next is Synchronicity by The Police from 1983, which got here in round 1 by beating out Marvin Gaye's What's Going On? Unbelievable. And in round 2 by beating out Closer to the Edge by Yes. Close to the Edge? Who wrote that?
Close.
Oh, is it Close to the Edge? Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's up against the Cars, which got here in round 1 by beating out PJ Harvey's Rid of Me. And it beat out Black Flag's Damaged. Yeah, that's not hard to believe. Oh, God. Both of these bands, really, really incredible. But really, I don't think you'd have a Police without the Cars, so I'm giving this to the Cars.
Whoa.
Okay. I think you kind of knew where I was going to go. The difference was 0.04 here because the Cars had a bigger inspiration. Earlier Police was a huge inspiration. Later Police, not so much. But the musicianship, the lyrics is where this one wins out because I'm not here to brush your rock and roll hair. I'm giving it to the Police.
Fine.
Yeah, so I was thinking about this. There's some interesting parallels here. You have Synchronicity, which was turned out to be the final album by the Police and some of the most experimental music they had ever done. You have versus the debut album of the Cars and some of the most experimental music people had ever heard prior to that point. Not to mention, the majority of songs that you recognize from the Cars are on this particular album. So this was kind of a hard decision, but man, even as the band was completely falling apart, it's hard to argue with how musically tight the Police were. So I'm going to go with Synchronicity as well.
Okay.
Dave, you want to introduce the next one?
Oh, yeah. So Funhouse by the Stooges from 1970 got here by beating out Otis Blue by Otis Redding. And then in round 2, beat out Welcome to the Black Parade by My Chemical Romance. Meanwhile, Van Halen's debut album, the self-titled Van Halen from 1978, beat out Enter the Wu-Tang. I keep saying that. Enter the Wu-Tang by Wu-Tang Clan.
Into the Poontang Clan. Yeah.
I keep wanting to rhyme it with something else. Enter the Wu-Tang.
It's Poontang.
And then in round 2, it beat out Graceland by Paul Simon, which we just talked about earlier with the Peter Gabriel. In terms of my vote, so Funhouse, very musically tight group. The Stooges were very musically tight. Inspired a ton of punk artists. It is kind of a chore to listen to at times. It's not the most listenable album sometimes. Van Halen, it really brought metal back from the brink by just completely reinventing it, and is an absolute blast to listen to. So for me, I'm going with Van Halen.
Scott?
Yeah, I mean, as much as I dig the Stooges and Saint Iggy, the living saint, and I'm amazed he's still with us. But hey, Eddie's dead, but hey, Van Halen brought the party, and the party's still here, and that music is still relevant even today. So yeah, Van Halen.
God, you just said something really interesting. Who would have predicted, like by 1970s, 1980s, that Iggy Pop would outlive Eddie Van Halen?
I know, right? Wow.
I don't know how you voted that way, but you did. I still had to go with Stooges because I just still think of this as the godfather of punk, and this was the album
I get it.
that did it for all of them. But hey, Van Halen moves on. And finally, oh boy.
Yeah.
And I go first in this one. So here is today's really big matchup. We have Nevermind by Nirvana. In round 1, they beat out Jay-Z's The Blueprint. And in round 2, they beat out Michael Jackson's Thriller. Nirvana will be taking on Prince and the Revolution's Purple Rain, the album, but not the movie. Purple Rain beat out John Lennon's Imagine in round 1, and in round 2, it beat out Elvis Costello's This Year's Model. And so here we are. By .01, I have to give this to Prince. Nevermind changed music. It was another pivot in music, another just divergence and went somewhere else. But Purple Rain is Purple Rain. I can't... musicianship-wise, it's like 1/3 of Nirvana's really, really good. And with Prince, close to 100% because it's mostly him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just realized, like, I put together notes for every single one of these votes, and this is the one that I actually have a blank space on the page because I just had such a hard time. Purple Rain, greatest soundtrack to a horrible movie ever made. But because that movie is god fucking awful. Nevermind, like you said, Corey, just recharted the course of music for a long time. Purple Rain basically gave us the 80s. Nevermind gave us the 90s. I guess as I think about they both have high points, they both have low points. And I guess as I sit here thinking about from that perspective, I think there's probably fewer low points in the Nirvana album. Some of what Prince did just has not held up as well as the Nirvana album. It's not to say Nirvana album is flawless, but it just hasn't held up as well. So I think I got to go with Nirvana.
Ooh. Well,
all right, Scott.
Okay, you got Nevermind and you got Purple Rain. And with Nevermind, you get a shotgun. With Purple Rain, you get some pills. And it's either an overdose or a suicide. So which is it going to be, Billy? Overdose or suicide? Well, frankly, I'll take the
They're both suicides.
No. Prince was an accidental overdose.
Oh, no, you're right. No.
That's right, yeah. He was making pancakes, and he was like feeling too high, took another pill. Oop, bye, Prince. And that was it. Kurt was like, I'm so sad. Boom! And, that was it.
He was making pancakes.
Yeah, well, right? Messy. And you're right, Dave. There's so much about Purple Rain that didn't age as well. Some of it's just like, yeesh, a little cringe to listen to these days. But honestly, I'd still rather throw myself out a window onto a pile of glass bricks and dead puppies than listen to Nevermind again. So Purple Rain, please.
Okay. Wow.
That was a hell of a way to get there, but...
There we are.
Little Billy from Family Circus just took the circuitous route to get to that.
I'm sorry.
No, hey.
Childhood ruined.
You had the floor.
That's what happens,
This is how this works.
You give me a mic.
Okay. Well, that gets us down to a total of 32 albums.
Yes, we have 16 left from our original bracket, 16 left from our wild card bracket. So, okay, so where do we go from here?
We tell stories
guess
about
what,
them.
folks? Time to finally bring those together, and we will only have a single bracket going forward, because what we're going to do is we're going to start taking the final 16 from our main bracket, pit them up against the final 16 that are remaining from our wild card bracket, and we move on from here. That means for our next show, we will go back to our usual format of having 4 rounds, where we will talk a little bit more at length. It won't be this kind of like scattered quick voting that we did today.
That's not our normal format. Our normal format's only 2 rounds.
Well, yeah.
Fair.
Hey, it's
Yeah.
our fucking show. Our normal format is whatever we say it is.
True.
It's very true.
All right, so if you want to listen in advance and be ready for the discussion on the next show, for a much more discussion on the next show, here's what's coming. From today, Paid in Full by Eric B. and Rakim will be taking on The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars by David Bowie. Portishead, Dummy will be going head-to-head with Led Zeppelin 1.
Ooh.
We will have Fiona Apple's Win the Paul going up against AC/DC's Back in Black.
When the Paul, what?
Win the Paul? Is that what it said?
Yeah.
Win the Paul.
What the fuck?
When the Paul blesses you.
And then finally in round 4, Bitches Brew by Miles Davis will go head-to-head with Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon.
Ooh.
Go ahead and log my vote now.
Yeah, gosh. That's a weird matchup right there. But I mean, something had to go up against it.
So that's what's coming. Again, we know this is a weird show. Thank you for hanging with us. Trust us, it'll get back to normal a little bit next time.
I don't know about normal, because I'm going to write some more stories about how these artists used various types of bread and or hamburger buns for various sexual explorations. And
There was a time when you would pair an artist with a cake.
with cake, yes. It's all about cake. Yeah, and desserts, yeah. Well, we could get back to that, I think.
You used to pair them up with desserts. You used to put people on rockets.
Oh, man.
You've lost your groove.
I know. I feel like I have. I feel like Nevermind needs to be strapped to the fucking rocket into the sun, because we've missed that. That's true. Kurt Cobain, get the fuck out of here. You're no longer welcome on Earth. Oh wait, he's already gone. Took himself out. How convenient.
My God.
Well, that's great, though, because that means that the rocket, you can just go in the cargo hold.
Right, exactly.
Hey, all these artists, you know what, though? We're giving them the gift of having their ashes spread out in space.
There you go. Yeah. Kurt Cobain with Kanye. Yeah. Ugh.
No, thank you.
There's a thought. At least that dude's not here.
Oh, no, Kanye. Yeah, no, we got all the Kanye albums out of here
God.
a long time ago.
Yeah, eons ago, it feels like. Well, this is like one of the shortest episodes ever.
I know. We haven't been this short in a couple of years.
Shit.
And this is before Corey edits it down.
I know, right? Wow.
All right. Thank you all again. Come back next time as we go into, I guess it's round 3?
Yeah, I'll come back now.
No,
You hear?
this was actually round 3. This is round 4 next time.
Oh, yeah. Round 4.
We're whittling them down, Billy.
All right. Press the button, Frank.
Yep. I'm gonna press the button. Bam, bam, bam. Press the button. Oh, yeah. Tina Turner on the dildo.
What?